Hello friends, and welcome back to the garden. The spring weather is in the air, although the garden does look a bit dreary. And today I want to talk about how I made so many different mistakes when I got started. But before we get started, let's quickly talk about how you don't have to be perfect to start gardening. By starting a small setup and starting imperfectly, making mistakes, that's what's going to help you succeed in your garden overall. And every mistake that you make is a learning experience. So I'm going to break down some of the learnings that I had in order for you to get a quick start and an upgraded start on your garden. So whether you're a beginner gardener or you're an experienced gardener, this is a great listen because it hopefully can tell you some vital things that you could be learning for a more successful garden. And I'm so excited to dig in. If you're a busy mom, a beginner gardener, or someone who just wants to garden that actually works in real life, this video is for you. And the first tip that we're going to talk about is your garden setup. So it's going to be raised beds versus in-ground gardening. And one of the first mistakes that I made was I thought that you automatically needed raised garden bed. When deciding if you should have a raised bed versus an in-ground bed, you need to think about what works best for you. Now, raised beds have many positives to them. One, you can get modular setups in metal garden beds like Veggo or Vegga Gardens. I'll put a link down below on those beds, and they're really modular. They have so many different setups. They come in the mail and you can easily set them up. They're gonna drain really well because they are higher up, and you can really choose the soil that you're gonna have in your bed, which can be really nice if you're not working with a great ground setting that is maybe very clay-like. What's also really great about raised garden beds is they're usually going to heat up a lot faster in the spring because the sun's hitting them. The metal might conduct that heat a little bit better than in the ground. And the drainage is going to be really nice because you do have that soil that you're setting up. It can really drain through pretty nice and great, unlike if you have that clay soil that might be sitting and pooling at the bottom. I also really like raised garden beds because they have a nice defined space. You know exactly what you're working in. It's a really clean space that you can set up. And oftentimes it's not as overwhelming because you have 1-2 beds that you really have to work on and not a whole ground area that can be really quite confusing and overwhelming if you don't know exactly what you're going to be doing in your garden, and can lead to a lot of mistakes, time, and overall just anxiety with gardening. That being said, the downsides of raised garden beds is that they can be quite costly as you think of some of the supplies, the soil that you're putting into them, the time and effort that's being put into it, and it can make it so that they're a little bit colder in the colder temperatures because the air can actually get in as well, and they don't have that ground to keep them really nice and warm. If you're thinking about getting started quick and in a cost-effective way, then in-ground gardening is an amazing solution because you can quickly and easily grow in a plot of land. It doesn't matter the size. You can start with whatever you have, amend the soil throughout time. It'll keep getting better and better, and depending on the crops that you're deciding to grow, you can grow crops that work really well in your soil, your region, your zone. Now in zone 7, we do sometimes not have the best soil. So we are going to talk about this year a lot of how you can amend that soil, what you can be growing, and how you can be rotating your crops. Now, if I were to get started over again, I'd probably just start with 1 or 2 simple raised garden beds. I wouldn't start with this huge garden that we have because it is really hard to manage when you're starting off and just beginning. Start small. We started with just 3 to 6 raised beds. We had flowers in some, herbs in some, and some veggies and fruit. And then we've expanded over time once we felt that we could manage and take on more gardening as we grew. The next mistake that we made was starting off with too many different varieties. Now, when you're starting off a garden, it can be really exciting to try different types of heirloom tomatoes, and you'll watch YouTubes and videos of all these delicious looking items, and then you're trying to grow 20 different tomatoes, none of them are working, and it's just really overwhelming because you've put things in the wrong spot, there's too much going on, and you might be starting off a little bit more than you can chew. So my suggestion here is to choose 1-2 different types of tomatoes, a zucchini. Choose things that you actually are eating on a daily basis, and then once you're mastering that, then next year or the next succession of growing, try a different one. Start off small. hit your rewards so that it feels good. You feel empowered to keep on growing, inspired to keep on growing, and maybe you're gonna have 40 zucchinis and they're all the same, but you're gonna feel amazing as you do it, and then next time you can try a different variety. Wow, our last windstorm really blew everything all around. And as I think about craziness that's happening in our little potting area, it makes me think about how crazy I felt when I wasn't rotating my crops because I was just really overwhelmed with the idea of crop rotation. Crop rotation seems really intimidating as a beginner gardener, and when I was getting started, I just didn't know what it meant, so it honestly freaked me out. But I think you need to think more simply about it. Crop rotation doesn't mean, oh, plant this here and then plant this one that's gonna help the soil and then do this one and then do this one. It doesn't have to be that complex. It can be as simple as this year I'm planting tomatoes in this spot, and next year I'm going to plant them in this spot. This year I'm planting zucchinis and squashes in this spot, and next year I'm going to plant root vegetables in the same spot, and mixing it up. The most important thing to remember here is learn the families of your vegetables. Learn which ones are in the same family, and then choose to plant them in different locations in your garden or your garden bed. Try not to plant them in the same location every year. Don't put your tomatoes in the same pot every year unless you're rejuvenating that soil, you're cleaning it out. You want to make sure that you're rotating things around, and that will make sure that these crops are not depleting the soil that you have, but are instead adding nutrients and greatness into it. And that's all you really need to know. It doesn't have to be super complex. One big thing with gardening, juggling work, kids, family, cooking dinner, and just living general life is that time is often really important. One mistake that I made early on when we built out our garden is we didn't think about the proper automations. We just did everything very manual, which meant when we designed the planning of our garden, we didn't build a system that would easily automate the watering for us. So we manually had to go to each and every single bed to water it, which was very time consuming. And one of the #1 reasons why we're moving in-ground and in our in-ground system is we are coming up with a way to really automate it. And automations are gonna be your best friend in gardening. What can you do to eliminate the daily mundane tasks like watering and turn it into a fun experience that you actually get to enjoy? Things like mulching around your plants is going to help with making sure that the weeds are down so you don't have to go in and weed as often. Creating automated watering systems so that you don't have to go in and water every day. Maybe that's collecting water in rain barrels so that you don't have to take your hose out from your house, connect everything up every day, and get that built up. Maybe it's creating systems like netting on your plants so that you don't have to worry about spraying your plants as often, so that you actually have a netting that keeps out all of the bugs and birds that might come in and try to eat all of your plants. Or maybe it's just planting companion plants that are actually going to deter certain bugs and insects from getting in them. Automations in the garden are going to be the #1 reason that you can succeed and have true enjoyment in your garden. I'm a huge fan of creating systems, so I definitely suggest that you think about the systems that are most important to you and ways that you can conserve the most time so that you can actually enjoy the aspects of your garden and not be spending mundane amounts of hours watering plants. Now, if there's one thing I want beginners to take away from this video, it's that making mistakes does not mean that you're bad at gardening. It means that you're gardening, that you're getting outside, that you're growing something that you've started from seed and turned into an amazing vegetable. Every season, you're gonna learn something. Every area is different. Every garden bed is different. And every year that you're in the garden, you're learning, growing. And I have to say that gardening is probably one of the hardest things but the most rewarding things that I've done in my life. I'm so excited that you're here to garden with me this year, and I can't wait to have the season come. So if you're beginning gardening, I hope this was helpful. I hope you're gonna start automating. I hope you're gonna learn the best way to start your garden, whether it's in ground or in a raised bed. You're spacing out your plants in the correct way, you're rotating them, and you're just getting started in the garden and learning along the way. That's it. Have a good one.